So I'm going to actually walk you through how I go about disbudding an animal. So I'm going to actually walk you through exactly how I do it, but I'm not going to actually disbud an animal. First things first, you want to take and make sure your dehorner is plugged in, and it should be plugged in for 10-15 minutes, maybe even 20 if it's older. This one's usually nice and hot, and this part here gets really red when it's ready. As you can tell, there's some spots on my box. That's how I actually check it quite often. I'll take this and put it on here and see if it burns pretty quick. If it burns quick, it's ready to go. And then I'll bring my goat in. We'll put them in here in the box with their head sticking out here. We'll take and press their head down gently. And you're not being mean with them. It's what you have to do. So you gently push their head down, and then you'll come in. You'll find the buds with one hand, and then you'll go down on top of it and hold it down there and rock it around in a circular motion for 10 seconds. Once it's on there for 10 seconds, and that's a nice slow count, 10 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, and so on till you get to 10. You'll pull it off. You'll let that side cool down some. Then once you let that side cool down some and it's cool to the touch, you'll go to the other side and do it the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, rocking it all the way around so you make sure you get all the way down around the base of that horn. Then once you do that, let that other side cool off. You'll go back and there'll be little buds on top of where it was burned off. You want to pick that off. That is one of the keys to make sure that it actually does not scur, is you pick that piece off of there. Sometimes there's a little bit of blood under there. Sometimes there's not. Most of the time there's not. Then I'll go back, make sure the horns are really cool to the touch, and then I'll go back again for another 10 seconds, doing the same rocking motion all the way around that. And after 10 seconds, I will pull it off, and at the bottom of the where it was burnt, there will be a nice golden brown ring. That usually means that you are good to go. If it's not golden brown, if it's black or whatever, you want to go a little bit more, but you still want to make sure that it is cooled down. And you want to make sure that you got a good firm push on there. You can't be light on it either, because then you don't get it done, and then you'll have to do it more times, and it's not good for the animal. But you don't want to go so hard, push so hard that you end up hurting the animal. So it's just a nice firm touch, and it'll do the work, and you just rock it around like that. That's what you do. So after the second 10 seconds on the other side, it has a nice golden ring. You go to the other side, do the same thing, and it's good to go. Some people take and will spray something on the horns after they are done, and I don't. I just put them back in with mom, and within 30 seconds, they don't even know what happened. Some people say, why don't you use a vet? Why don't you have the horns cut off by a vet? I've heard some horror stories about that. I was raised on a farm when I was younger. We disbudded cattle. I spent quite a few years on dairy farms, and all the calves there are disbudded. So I know how to do it. And it's not that hard. You don't have to go pay that high dollar to have an animal disbudded at the vet. And from talking to a few vets that I know, there's certain things that they have to go through stepwise to take them off. Most of them won't burn them. They'll end up actually cutting them off, which then ends up leaving you a big old scab on there because they go down there and they scrape all the roots around there, and then they pop that bud off that comes off when you burn. It actually will cut it, but if it's not done properly, it will still scur. They have the medicines that they have to use, and if it's done wrong, you can kill your animal. That's why I do not recommend going to a vet. Are vets good for other things? Yes, they are. I love my vet that we use, but I think dehorning an animal, unless they're so long that you can't get a disbudder on them and you have to get them done, that's the only time I would, because there's no good way to do it by cutting them off. The best thing is to get them young, catch them young, get them disbudded. For some reason, if you do get a scur, all you got to do is take a pair of pliers, grab that scur, because usually it's not on there very good, it's barely on there, and take and rip it off. Twist it off or rip it off. It'll come right off. You don't want to let it go any longer than you have to before you can get a hold of it and get it took off there. But it will keep on coming back. So once you do it once, you might as well every 30, 60 days, you're going to be going back and doing it again. So hopefully, me describing exactly how I do it. I do have one video up on disbudding. I will leave a link down below for that, or I will tag it in the iCard above. I will leave that one there for you to go check out if you want to look at exactly how I do it. It's basically the same thing, but I've had some people ask me to redo a video on it, but with the way things are, it's hard for me to actually disbud a animal. I try not to show too much of that stuff that actually could be classified bad to the animals or dangerous or something like that. So if you have any questions, please leave it down below. We're here to help, and so that's what we do. So if you guys have any questions, please make sure you leave them down below. Hit that thumbs up while you're at it, and that allows YouTube to know that you guys are enjoying our videos. So thank you for coming along with me, and see you on the next video.